What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the podcast.
It's
We
actually
got
called Daddy Big's
it is
Deliriums.
called that. You're right. Thank you for reminding me.
Of course.
As you can hear, we're back with my favorite little goober, Lucas here,
Yeah, that's me. Hello.
and we're here to talk about just kind of this whole experience of like meeting new people and making new friends. Because Lucas is the kind of guy who just kind of like mingles with everyone and just makes friends with everyone he finds. And I feel like I don't do that as often. So I just thought it would be interesting to have a conversation about that. And is there anything you wanted to say?
Sure. I guess that's one way to put it. Um, to start us off, for the start of this year, one of my New Year's resolutions was just to like talk to new people. Just because I feel like a lot of the time people don't talk to new people just because they're comfortable with not doing it, maybe because they're shy, stuff like that. But there's really not a lot of harm that can come from talking to new people, and I feel like I've just like met a lot of really cool people, just by talking to them, even if I don't know them super well. Um, so just from my experience, there's like really no reason not to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And I guess like, what is it that you look for when you're like talking to someone? You know.
Well, I look for interesting conversations. I mean, at first there's usually something that kind of connects us. Like if something's going on in class, and we just have like some kind of small connection. Like if we just have some kind of favorite food in common, or some kind of favorite movie or song or band or anything, that can just kind of start a whole conversation. And no matter where it goes, it's always kind of cool because you have different conversations with different people. And I guess since I'm a bit of a movie guy, and I really love watching um, conversations that are made for movies, especially just really famous ones, like if you can think of dialogue from Pulp Fiction, stuff like that. It's just kind of cool to see that in real life because I feel like whenever you talk to new people, you always have an opportunity for a really interesting new conversation that you couldn't have had with anybody else.
That makes sense. So it's just like you just have this belief that like everyone is like, well, obviously like everyone's unique, and you think that like you'll never get to experience these different people if you don't ever like go up and talk to them. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, who knows if you'll ever see these people again.
True.
And I guess that a conversation is just a way to lead into it, but once you get to know the person, that can actually lead to really, really great friendships later on. Um, and just getting to know more people is always nice because if you're in an unfamiliar setting, but you know people, even if you don't know them well, but if you've talked to them, if you've had conversations with them, then you'll kind of, I don't know, they'll be there for you in a way. So it's always really nice to have that.
Mm-hmm. I guess for me, it's more a thing of like I'll meet new people, but I feel like there has to be like a certain like chemistry I have with a person before I really want to talk to them more. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, like I'm friendly and pretty much talk to anyone, unless like they're like, you know, not not cool.
If they're not cool,
Well, like you know, if they're like, if you got beef with them,
if you got beef,
you got beef, yeah.
yeah,
But like most people, you know, it's like I'll be pretty casual. I'll talk to them, but it's not nearly as often that I find that I really want to continue talking to someone, you know. And I feel like that's more so where you and I differ a little bit. I feel like I have really like I choose to have few deep connections and then just don't really. But you just have a lot more like buddies and acquaintances than I do. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, I guess that we are pretty similar in the way that I always talk to my closest friends the most, of course, and I
Yeah.
hold those
Yeah.
closest to my heart. Um, but yeah, I guess that I don't really ever stop talking to people who I meet. It's not like I'll usually text them often or just like communicate with them often outside of when I'm seeing them. That's sort of where the difference is. I feel like I
Yeah.
talk to my closest friends a lot more outside of seeing them, rather than people who I'm not as close with. Um,
I mean, that just makes sense. Because you
yeah,
can, like, only have so many, like, best friends, so many close friends, and it's, like, the whole, like, circles thing, you know?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, regardless of that, just whenever I see them, it's just kind of nice to catch up with them, I guess, just to like see what's happening with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, I get what you mean. Just kind of, I guess it just depends on the environment too, you know? Because if you're in a place where you're meeting new people a lot, you know, like at like if you're going to school somewhere, there are just a lot of people that you can talk to. It's different than like when you're a boring adult in boring real life and see the same 10 people every day, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, exactly. I guess that's another reason why I'm just trying to take advantage of it now is because I mean, like we said earlier, I probably won't see a lot of these people again, and it's nice to have familiar faces whenever I go to a class or go to a club.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
I guess for me too, another thing I think that makes us different is just that we're both like are pretty emotional,
Mhm.
but I feel like you're like very emotionally driven, whereas I'm like more a little more methodical when it comes to relationships. You know,
Yeah.
you just kind of go with whatever you're feeling. You know,
Yeah, I guess so.
and what would you say like? I mean, do you ever really think about it like that, or do you just do?
I mean, I don't know. I guess that I don't really spend a lot of time thinking things through.
Yeah.
Um, Probably because I'm not very patient.
Mm.
That's uh that's a virtue that I don't have, and a lot of people can attest to that.
I guess I never thought about it like that.
Yeah. It's not like I'm just not patient at all. Like I've definitely learned to wait for things, but I feel like I'm a lot better at waiting for like material objects and things like that. I think I've gotten a lot better at just not needing things right away.
Yeah.
But then with people, it's always different for me because they're not going to be there forever. Objects are going to be available forever. You can get them in any place. So like whenever I like to go look at record stores a lot, but I really don't get that many records anymore. Just because I don't really like spending that much money in that kind of way. Um, but I feel like since that has begun to happen, um, I I've just been finding like comfort in my friends and in talking to new people more because those are kind of like limited time offers. Who knows if you'll ever get to talk to that person again?
Yeah.
Whereas with buying stuff, that'll always be there.
That makes sense. I mean, like, I guess for records it is a little bit different because there are like collector's items and
Oh,
stuff
that's
like that.
true. Yeah, when
But
it comes to stuff like that, that's a bit different.
hmm
But yeah,
but no, I think yeah, I just think you just have this, and I think another thing too is that you're just so open that people are just like attracted to you. You know, I mean, like not like in that way, but just like in general, you just like attract people's attention just because you just have this energy with you. You know.
well, thank you. I mean, yeah, I guess I do try to be pretty honest a lot of the time.
And that's the thing is like you are honest, even
Yeah.
though you're forthright. You know.
Yeah. I definitely don't like shy away from just telling people how I feel or expressing how I feel.
hmm
Um I mean, some things I definitely keep to myself
Yeah.
or just um I kind of take them out of me little by little, and I definitely don't like to kind of put my struggles onto other people because that's happened to me a bit in the past, and I haven't like it just kind of depends on what it is. It like if it's something how do I put this? Like I don't like talking to other people about stuff that I feel like I can handle myself.
hmm But
Unless it just comes to kind of like stuff that I kind of want to share.
But is that just more of a matter of trust for you? Like you don't want to like trouble like most people you wouldn't want to trouble with your own problems and stuff, but people you're really close to is where you're more comfortable sharing that.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
definitely.
I think that's kind of like a generalization that like will apply to most people, obviously, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, you don't you don't tell most people your feelings, but like those you really care about.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
horoscope shit.
yeah, yeah.
But like you get my point, you know. And for you, you're just saying that like because like for me, I don't really. One thing about me is I don't like to talk about my own like success or abilities in life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And even with people I am close to, that's still something that makes me self-conscious is talking about that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like that for you where it just makes you feel like self-conscious and vulnerable and you don't like that?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. I mean, like when if it's people who I don't usually talk to, I usually try to keep it pretty lighthearted as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, this is a little bit different, but I guess that I'm also just more comfortable. This is what you were talking about just now. I really, really like to just share things like concerts and things that I've been working on with people.
Mhm.
Like I do this thing where before I have a concert, I usually send out information for that concert to just about everybody in my contacts list. I just kind of go down and I tell
Yeah.
them all about it. And I don't know, I feel like that's another way for me to kind of get closer to other people and connect to other people. It's just because, like, if we kind of meet outside for those kind of events, I don't know, they're always fun. Um, you always just get to connect with those people more. And I guess that I'm just, like, not shy at all about telling people about things like that. And it's not just concerts, it's usually that, and it's usually also things that I've been working on, like short films. I
Yeah.
always send those out to
Yeah.
everybody, and I know that you do that too. You really
Mhm.
like to share just your music and our short films with everybody, including
Yeah, for sure.
teachers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's like when you have something like that that you're proud of and that you can share with people, obviously you want to show it to them, you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
But yeah, that makes sense. So another thing I wanted to another thing I wanted to ask you about is just about because I here's the thing, talking about relationships, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I feel like both of us are kind of hopeless romantics, but like in different ways. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
sure.
I feel like you're just like so confident and you just like talk to people and then you just like someone and then go on like a bunch of dates with them in like a short period of time and then they like just like people just fall for you, you know?
Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
Like me 35 years ago.
So true.
But yeah, I don't know, it's just like I mean you know, I got I'm in the know about the Riz that's going on right now, but this video is going to be uploaded like 2 months from now. Who knows what's going to be going on by then? You know, that's just
Yeah.
you're just bombastic.
I mean, yeah. Guilty as charged. I definitely. Well, I don't know. I guess it's another part of that feeling that I have that these people aren't going to be around forever,
Yeah,
and that I just want to take all the time that I have with them. And I guess that I also just have this fear of wasting time and not using it well.
yeah, I know what
Um,
you mean.
that's why whenever I get into something like making a movie, that's all I focus on. But yeah, when it comes to things like relationships, I usually just kind of like I never want to try to pressure things into moving too quickly, but I usually do try to get the ball rolling just to see how things will go because I do have that feeling that there's not that much time.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So it's just you just have this sense in life that it's more so like a capture the moment thing. Seize the day, if you will.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That one's coming out in
exactly.
5 weeks.
Yeah, stay tuned for the Dead Poet Society episode.
Spoilers. But but yeah, it's just I mean, I do that as well. But it's just I don't know. I think I've just begun to settle more in life, you know? just kind of in general. Like I think back in the day, like my sophomore year and like my freshman year and stuff in high school, I was like I have all these ideas about the public education system, which is for a different video. But like I
Yeah,
just
I remember that.
yeah, I just like didn't I basically just didn't want to like go with the program. I wanted to be different and show that and prove that I wasn't just another blank slate in the factory line, you know?
Yeah,
And like I got so like involved in that idea that I don't know. I mean, you were there for it,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like
I was definitely there for it.
I was just like not wasn't settled in life. I was just like more defiant and more like I guess like a little bit unstable in a way. But I feel like maybe part of it is just I don't know. I think it's just a matter of maturity. You know what I mean? At this point in my life, I'm just more settled. But also, I think it's a matter of, you know, I'm starting to find out what it is that I want to do, and starting to get more comfortable and more just invested in the things I know about, like the things I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like, I mean, maybe someday when you're my age, you'll get it. But I feel like you're still kind of at this point where you're just trying to absorb every experience you can find, and maybe you don't really, maybe you're not settled like that yet, you know. And
I mean,
I'm not. I'm talking like I'm some damn old man.
no, no.
Obviously,
I
I
have
still
to
have.
agree with you there. You
Yeah,
definitely have like the wisdom of an old man, and I have definitely seen you settle over the past few years.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's crazy. Like you've only we haven't really known each other for that long, but it seems like forever, you know.
Yeah.
But but yeah. So I guess if you get what I mean, then I do have a point that like I'm just mellowing out a little bit, you know.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I
I
guess
think
that's
that's a good
okay.
thing
Yeah.
for sure. I think maybe part of it's just the sleep, the sleep
Yeah,
schedule
you do
on
get a
point.
lot of sleep.
Yeah, like I said in the podcast with Daniel, I'm a little bitch. You know, I'm fragile. I don't know if that one's already out yet. Hopefully it is, but if
Um.
not, you'll see it.
Yeah. Maybe I'm also just like I don't know. I guess I've always been a bit more hyperactive. Like I can't ever really sit still.
You're shaking your leg right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You're
am.
gonna make me start doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been known to just like shake my leg or like tap my fingers. I guess that I just can't really sit still a lot, and maybe just that about me reflects on my mindset when it comes to relationships.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, you just kind of go for things. Like you remember early this year when I was wanted to get a girl's number and I was just in
Oh
a
yeah.
state about it
Oh yeah.
and I was like just I had to hype myself up so hard and I was
Yeah.
like planning out when I was going to see her and stuff. It was pretty intense, but like you've never like had problems like that.
No.
Like you're just so, you know what I mean? You're just so confident with that kind of thing.
Well, thank you. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess that I'm just. I guess that I just kind of think that like I don't have much to lose
Yeah.
in a sense, and I guess that kind of changes over time. But at least in the beginning stages, I just kind of want to go for it, you know,
Yeah, I guess so.
because I'm a hyperactive little boy.
Makes sense. And I don't really know what else to ask you about. I mean, do you how do you feel like your relationships have gone for you? You know, like do you think just kind of going for things has paid off? He's got to think on this one.
I'm not saying that it's always the right approach, but I think that it has paid off.
Yeah. I mean, you have more experiences that way, you know?
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess let me ask you this. If you just like go for things like this, right? And just kind of live in the moment, see what happens. And you're like another thing I know you've talked about is that you feel like people don't go on dates quickly enough. And people will like just text and talk to each other like that but isn't it true that you feel like people need to like spend time with each other and actually go on like dates, but as a way to get to know each other more?
I mean, the way I see it is that yeah, nowadays a lot of people will say that they're dating, and
Nowadays.
they've never once actually hung out outside of school. They only just text and call each other. And
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm a bit of an old man in that way. Maybe I've just like lost touch with the youth. But for me, I personally don't really like calling people. I mean, I'll do it from time to time. We've called for like hours before,
Yeah.
but to me, it's just never the same as just spending real life time with a person.
I mean, yeah, I totally get what you mean, you know. But I guess for me it's a little different because I feel like maybe this is one thing that's interesting about us is I feel like you kind of approach all of your friendships in the same way. Like the way you interact with people is very consistent, you know. You'll meet people at school and talk to them, and then if you like them a lot, you'll talk to them more often outside of school and like get together with them and do stuff, you know.
Sure, yeah.
But I feel like I have different varieties of relationships and different ways that my relationships work, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah.
Like there are some people that, you know, a lot of my relationship with them has consisted of just like a lot of it was built up during quarantine when all we could
Yeah.
do is call and text, and still now some of the most like deep and intimate conversations I've had with like this person I'm thinking about is just like all like over Discord DMs in the dead of night, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
And then they're like this other person that I write letters to, you know? And I just feel like that's an interesting point I never really thought of before is that I guess it's just because I mean I'm not saying that you aren't friends with like different types of people, but I guess just like I kind of in my life have like distinctly like different kind of like groups. And I feel like in that way I can kind of talk to anyone, and I know you can too. But does that make sense what I'm like getting at, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean,
Yeah.
do you disagree?
No, I don't. Also, yeah, he used to write letters to me. What happened to that?
Look, this this guy has not replied to my letter in like how like 6 months. It's been so long. Cause I asked him why, and he was like, "Oh, we just talk about stuff in person now. Like, who cares? Like, whatever, bro. Whatever,
I
bro.
didn't say who cares.
I
I have those letters in a very special place.
uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
They must have been real special to you if you're working so hard on your reply.
Okay. Where were we? So,
We were just talking kind of about how I have just like this different like variety of how I interact with people. Oh yeah, and then before that we were
yeah.
talking about dating and just like getting to know people that way and how you think that that's should be more of a thing.
Okay, so like when you're talking about how you kind of have like different you have a different variety of friends. I mean, there's just a few select people who I just always spend more time with. People
Yeah.
who I always drive with, who all who will just go to each other's houses outside of school. I mean, you're one of them for sure. Um,
Let's go.
um, but yeah, there's also I don't know. There are like some friendships that I usually like just keep at school, and that's not out of choice. I just kind of feel like if I keep talking, if I keep talking to them at school, then that's great, and then that should be the foundation for whether or not we do stuff outside of school.
And I mean like it's totally fine to have friendships that are less deep. And I think that's an important thing, you know, is to have people that you can just kind of hang out with when you're with them, but it's not much more than that. I mean, that's just like an important part of human interaction. And
Yeah,
it's good. It's nice to have those people. But
yeah,
but yeah, I have those people too. I'm just saying I'm one of my main points like when I was thinking about talking to you about this is just that it seems like you just go out of your way to meet new people a bunch, you know. But
yeah. I mean, I guess that I just like having people to talk to.
yeah. I guess that just testifies to the whole idea I brought up of you just wanting to explore more things at this point in your life, you know. And my thing is like I'm doing that too. Dude has taken 5 sips of water in the past 30 seconds. Oh my god. But I guess like I'm just doing it in smaller ways, you know, like I for me at this point, it's just like small things that make like a big difference, or I guess for you, you're looking for like big different things in your life, because again, I think it's just more of a matter of I've settled more, and it's like, yeah, I know I'm going to do music, I know I'm going to do this, that. It's just small different things I can try out within those areas. But for you, it's
Yeah,
you still, like, you were thinking about doing a musical, you know
that's true.
you're
Yeah.
still just trying to find new experiences.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And um, I really don't text people a lot. Uh,
Yeah,
like I said, I don't call people a lot,
I deleted Snapchat. Best decision
and
of my life.
I'm very proud of you.
Because I
Um,
realized, I was like, literally all the people that I care about on Snapchat, I have their numbers. I
yeah,
was like, why do I have this dumb app that where I get snaps from Team Snapchat? That
yeah,
pisses me off.
yeah,
And just like
yeah. It's
whenever
always
I
gonna be a bad day when you get a snap from Team Snapchat.
and whenever I flip over to the stories tab, and there's just the worst ridiculous
Yeah, we
garbage of
shouldn't.
all time.
Yeah, we shouldn't talk about that.
It's
That's
just like, oh my god. And
that's
I
a
just
topic for another video.
yeah, I one of my actually zombie from the podcast one time who plays clarinet. I remember one time when we were in high on the topic of high school marching band, they said that there are two kinds of clarinet players: those that exclusively use Snapchat and those that exclusively use Discord. And I can now confidently say I am in the latter, although I don't play clarinet. But it was just funny because like on my phone it was like I had my messages and then Snapchat and Discord, and Snapchat did not survive.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that for me, I definitely don't use Discord,
Yeah,
like at all. I don't use Snapchat that much either. For me, it's mostly just like messages or Instagram for people who I don't have the numbers for.
yeah, for sure.
But I guess that even with that, since I don't really text people a lot, that just gives me more reason to talk to them when I see them.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
whenever I'm outside of school, whenever I'm by myself, I always kind of like cherish those moments where it's just me doing something and I can be focused. I can enjoy myself. I mean, just taking walks by yourself, going running by yourself,
So true.
even just doing homework by yourself. I really like to. I really want to have a contrast between time for myself and then time with people.
Yeah.
So whenever I see people, whenever I'm in a setting where there's people, I just always try to make the most of it because
Yeah,
I love
get
talking
what
to
you mean.
people.
And I think that maybe I don't always take advantage of that as much as I should.
I mean, it's okay. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just up to preference.
For sure. But I think that working on this channel, right? The amount of time that I spend behind the microphone when I'm gaming, right? Like I think when I'm playing zombies, like I'm really focused on the video because things are constantly happening that I'm gonna have to be talking about. But when I'm playing like making my Terraria videos, a lot of time it's more laid back. Like there'll be a big period of time where I'm just fishing or just building or farming or doing anything like that. Just I can, for a second, it feels like I'm not making a video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I think just like in talking, like everything from the podcast, talking about my life on the talking videos to just gaming, behind the microphone, it's just like all of those experiences have like you were talking about just personal experiences, like just like when you do stuff by yourself, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that those times where I'm just working by myself doing something have become so much more meaningful now that I spend so much time like in this whole like public making a video kind of mindset. You know what I mean? And like I've been talking about this more recently where it's like I really do like I've really fallen in love with this process. It's really, really fun for me. And I
Yeah.
want to keep doing it. And like creating is my passion. And for music, that's like a big thing. And that's just kind of taken on a whole new form with this YouTube channel that I really have fallen in love with. But it's just this idea that like I still want to have that time for myself and still have that private life.
Yeah.
That's like one of these big ideas in my life right now. And I guess it's just like what you're saying resonates with me a lot, because I guess that's just really important to me. And for me, it's like if you're in a really, really good relationship, spending time with that person, it should be like a part of you, you know? Like it should
Yeah.
be like the ideal relationship, like you're so close with this person that when you're alone with them, that's like, and obviously there's still no replacement for actually being completely alone with yourself. You still need both of those things, but it's pretty similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just gives you that kind of feeling of like being alive, being the most human,
Yeah.
the most yourself, you know?
Yeah, I guess that over COVID, kind of leading up to like last year, I was always a bit afraid to be alone.
Mhm.
Um that was why like over COVID, like everybody did this. Like I called my friends constantly. We were
Yeah.
always talking while I'd be doing something else. But then once that stopped and I started going back to school, I still just kind of I was always afraid of the times when I wouldn't like when I'd be by myself. So I'd always just try to be like doing something with people. Um but then recently, um I've just kind of learned that it's okay and kind of beautiful to just be by yourself sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
And it just cherish those moments because there are some times that I look back where it's just like me doing something outside by myself. That's just kind of amazing. I don't even want to talk about it on the podcast. I just want to keep those to myself
Yeah,
because I
exactly. And it's
yeah.
like I last summer I had an experience that it was like it was probably like the happiest moment of my life, you know? Just and it was something that I created within myself. Just I like again, it's the kind of thing like I'm not gonna talk about because that's
Yeah.
just like a really personal experience for me, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm grateful that I got to have that.
Yeah.
This whole thing where like all of this joy is just from you, and it can be just for you. And that's the thing is like I think that not I think that's kind of a lost thing because again I talked about this a million times, the fact that people are constantly like when it was my very first talking video, phones, I talked about, you know,
Yeah.
the necessity to share personal moments with the world,
Yeah,
you know, and
exactly.
like again, it's rich coming from me because I talk about my personal life on a podcast and on other videos, but like still like you get what I mean, you know what I mean.
I absolutely know what you mean.
I don't have to explain it to you, but yeah. And I mean, what is it they like when you're getting back to relationships, you know, yeah, like I asked you at first with like friendships what you look for, like what is the feeling that you're chasing with people that you want to find in a relationship that so makes you feel like you have this time crunch and that you'll makes you don't like makes you worried about losing things, like what is it that drives you to look for these relationships with people?
I guess I really look for the connections. Like I look for just moments between me and those people that we share, that we have, where we just find that we have something in common or that we have some shared experience. Something that just kind of connects us because as much as we need time to be alone, we also need time to be with other people. One
Mm-hmm.
time I read this in a book. I forget where it's from. I think it was from Dune. It says that like humans are almost always lonely, and that's what makes them human. Um, I mean, humans do need relationships. I mean, that's a huge part of who we are.
Yeah.
Um, so just looking for something that I have in common, looking for a conversation with somebody else, it's just really, really nice because it just like helps me to not feel alone. Not that I do, um, but
Should have throw that out there.
yeah. But I don't know. It's just if I'm somewhere and there's a person there who can share the experience with me, then why not do that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you mean, you know. It's just this yeah, and for me, it's just I guess like I said, this a theme of my life more recently, and a video that came out a few months ago now, or what's it called? Um, I know my own shit, but it was it was called I Don't Want to Be Famous. It's where I just kind of talked about
Oh,
how in real time as recording it's unreleased, so
okay,
you haven't heard it yet,
okay.
but I just kind of talk about how I I have this feeling of, you know, my brain is not even working right now. It's in the morning, but I just like I yeah, that's what it was. I know that like being a musician and like doing YouTube and stuff, finding success in these endeavors will lead to me being known, but I still despite all of that, I still want to have a like I've said actually in this podcast, a personal life, private moments for myself.
Yeah.
And that's why like that I think that's what I look for in my relationships is someone who I can build a relationship with that they will like value me just for who I am when I'm not making music or when I'm not doing YouTube. Someone who loves me for just the Cameron that people don't see and for the Cameron that people do see. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's like what I'm looking for.
You've talked to me about that, how you want people to like see and accept both sides.
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like that's really when you truly love a person, you love all parts of them.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what I'm looking for in a relationship. I mean, does that resonate with you at all, or do you have a different perspective on things?
Are you talking about dating relationships or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
talking. I mean, obviously, for friends, it's the same thing. I want like
Yeah.
I don't ever want to like lose people that I was just friends with because of those things that don't have to do with my eventual success or anything. Like, who knows what's gonna happen? Like if I become famous someday, I will still want to talk to my friends that I knew like all along. I don't want to ever abandon that part of my life.
So, okay, so sometimes I picture myself one day being a filmmaker,
Mhm.
and I picture myself for some reason it's like the movie premiere's done and I'm signing posters or something and giving them away with you, of course, because you made the music for it.
Yeah, naturally.
Um, and then what I always picture is
But
just
everyone's
like,
in line to see me, not you.
yeah. Um, what I
No,
always
it would be
picture
the other way
is
around,
that
high key.
like no. So people get out of your line, go into my line, and I'm picturing it's all these people who I knew in high school.
Mhm.
Like, wouldn't that be crazy? Like,
Yeah.
if we could just keep those friends, and if they could just, I'd always want to keep their relationship. Like, if they were there, I just want to have a conversation with them. I just want to keep talking to them, and I think it'd be really cool if we kept that going.
Yeah, and I mentioned this. I think this. I record all my podcasts like in one weekend and then have them for months, so I get confused very fast on what has or hasn't been said
Yeah.
in channel time. But I think this is a few months later from now. But with Daniel, I talked about this clip from Markiplier, and I don't really like watch him that often or anything. But it was this clip of him where he he was watching. I think it was like his 10 million subscriber special, and people were like celebrating for him, or I don't know the exact context, but he was just like bawling his eyes out watching this video, and an interviewer asked him like, "Why were you crying about that then?" Right, and he said that he said to the interviewer that he just realized in that moment that he would never have a personal relationship again because he had become so famous that he could never get to know anyone closely like he would have in the past again. And like
Really?
that's like kind of what I'm talking about here about like and that I also mentioned that in the video talking about how I don't want to be famous. And that's just why like I guess you mentioned the fact that you feel like time is running out for like this part of your life and you won't be able to see these people again. I guess for me it's more a matter of I I want to keep this feeling that I have with people where I do know them personally like that. And again, it's like I'm not saying I'm going to be terrifically famous or anything, but still it's like in a much less grand sense, you know, someday when I'm a big adult boy and have my own house and my own boring life, you know.
Well, I wouldn't say boring life. That's still up to you, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, but like, you know, like I don't know, I just feel like I don't want to settle too much. You know what I mean? I still want to keep a little bit of my youthful spark that you still have right now. You
Yeah.
know? And I remember like when I was like in middle school, like I wrote something very passionately about how like I never want to lose like being a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess it's just like balancing all these different things but still having that kind of your thing where you can just approach people and just meet new people and just have that experience of just living in the moment and just having, because you know like that is really special. And I guess my whole point to all of this is that I just want to still have like friends that are close to me and still talk to people, because I mean right now that's a huge part of my life, you know, like making this podcast, I'm just talking to a bunch of people that are my friends, you know, like a lot of YouTubers have podcasts where they talk to famous people or other big YouTubers and stuff,
Yeah.
you know, but for me, I just talk to my buddies, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like again, like if I get to the point where I can actually have like people with names on the podcast, that would be fun. But I don't ever want to like you see what I'm getting at, you know? It's like this
Yeah.
where it's just me and my friends, like that's just a different thing. And I don't want to lose that, you know? It's
Yeah.
for me my goal would be say I get like millions of subscribers. I would still want to make videos like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was a really heartbreaking story about Markiplier. I hadn't heard about that at all.
Yeah, that like isn't that just crazy? You know, like
Yeah, that is
like
crazy.
my point in the video I was talking about how I don't want to be famous is like I don't want that. You know?
Yeah.
I don't ever want to have to feel that for myself.
I mean, if so, even if I'm a movie director one day, which is what I really hope to be, and even if I'm at least a bit well known, I just really want to remain close to people. Like I don't want that to change me at all.
See, he gets it. This is
Yeah.
why I talked to this guy about
Yeah,
this.
exactly.
You never want this. You illustrated exactly what I wanted to say. It's like, because like I said before, it's like the things I want to do in life. If I'm successful, I will be known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like you said, you never want that to change you. That's the perfect way to put it. You know?
Yeah.
See, he gets it.
I mean, yeah, I guess I do. Like we're really similar in that way.
Yeah,
we're
are.
both very ambitious. We're not afraid of sharing things, but we still want to remain who we are through that process.
Yeah, for sure. Almost all of our podcasts end up just talking about the same thing with slight variance in the ultimate main point.
Yeah, I guess so.
But isn't that just life?
So true.
Oh my goodness. We've been recording for 43 minutes, so we should probably wrap
43
it up.
minutes. That's pretty good.
Well, excuse me, 43:40. I can't see the Audacity timeline from over here. I have bad eyes.
Such an old man.
I know. But yeah, was there any, I mean, I think that was a pretty good way to end it off, but was there anything you wanted to go full circle with? I mean, we talked about making, I mean, maybe just bring it back to the idea of making new friends and meeting new people, or
Sure.
because we hit a bunch of stuff. So is there anything you wanted to wrap up?
I mean, to anybody watching this who just go out and talk to more people. If you're ever in a public setting and you see somebody who you just sort of know, or even if you don't know them, there's never any harm in just starting up a conversation, because who knows where that'll take you. I mean, that is sort of how I met you. The first time I ever talked to you was I saw you on the drums, and I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, well, this guy's pretty good. And then I just went over and
inspired
talked
you
to
play
you.
drums.
You did. I already played drums. What are you talking about? No. I just thought you were good. And then I told you that. I didn't have to tell you that, but I thought, I'm going to take this opportunity and talk to this guy. Now here we
Yeah.
are. You're on my podcast.
Yeah, I am. I am on your podcast. Yep.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just as we would say 5 weeks from now, seize the day.
So true.
But but yeah, I don't know. I guess just I did dip quite a bit into things I've talked about before and will talk about in future podcasts. But yeah, like I said, I guess it's just all connected, right? And just I mean, if life is all connected, then try to be connected with life, you know?
That was so bars.
That was bars. So just yeah, I guess my thing is just to kind of introduce a different idea compared to what Lucas said about meeting new people. I guess my point would be to, and this is I think where we would differ more, is just find the people that you really connect with. Like find your closest friends and just never let those people go.
Oh
You know?
yeah, absolutely.
Because meeting new people is great, but to me, would like I wouldn't trade like my inner circle of friends for the world, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess it's just keep those people close. And you know, if you got a bestie you haven't reached out to, call them, say hi to them,
Yeah,
see what's going on,
of course.
cuz yeah, you don't want to lose those people that really care about you the most, cuz they're the people that are going to be there for you, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, is that it?
I think so.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Of course. Of course, buddy. Thanks for having me on my podcast.
Yeah, we need to have a talk. All right, Daddy Big out.